Alright, welcome back everybody to yet another video. Today we're going to be doing something different here. We're going to be just ranking the Summer 22 characters in a tier list. I've gotten like a bunch of them here. Not every single one of them, I'm kind of just basing it off of ones that, that have something different to say. So for example, I'm not really going to rank Ainz from Overlord because, I haven't much to say about him that's new. And, I do like him still basically the same way I have throughout the season. But for example, we're going to be talking about Renner because Renner does have something different, about her whole thing in Season 4. So yeah, without further ado, that's basically it. We're gonna be doing this tier list system. I'm gonna be putting up the ratings will correlate to this, and you just know that not every single character are gonna have the same talk as before. Because given for example, Roxanne, I'm just gonna have him C because I don't really give a shit about her. There's not much for me to say, but if I talk about let's say the highest of the highest, Shide, he's easily the top, and we're going to talk a lot about him right now. For example, Shide is easily one of my favorite characters of all time now, and Summertime Ending is one of the highest shows for me. I'm not sure if I'll actually make the summer finale because of how late it is into the season. I don't even know how well this episode video is going to do. I'm just kind of doing it more of an experimental thing to see maybe if it gets, liked. Maybe I might do a seasonal thing, with the finale impressions and the tier list videos. But, Summertime Ending, I'm planning to make a video on it eventually. Hopefully by the end of the year. But, Shide has been one of my favorite characters of all time right now. I do love his character and what he brings to the series, his personality, his aura, and just basically what he is as a character too. And without him, I don't think Summertime Ending would be as good as it is. He's a competent villain. He's able to basically kind of think of strategies, for example, not to kill Shimpy at one point. Because, he would run into time loop and then, ruin everything for his plans. And, he wants to just kind of see the world kind of end because of just kind of out of curiosity, because how we see the third party thing, how he sees himself as kind of video game villain in a way, because the whole thing early on we see how the unfair advantage that Shimpy has is like the antagonist in a game, because you can keep beating them, but then just you can restart, you can come back, so they have an unfair advantage, and the only way to win is kind of just take off the console. So in a way, I think his character could be related to that. That's why he wants to see the world end himself. He wants to see it. If he's gonna die, he might as well end the world himself so that he can see it to its end. He can finally win. The villain can finally win. Well, we'll get to that, in a video in full detail. And let's just also dish out some ones I'm not really. There's nothing really for me to say. By the way, we will order this, and this is not a scripted video, so do keep that in mind. We're not really. We're kind of just rambling on sometimes. And I guess stuttering, which I guess I always do too. And I dropped the show, not really caring much about it. It's kind of like K-On!, but take off everything fun, charming about K-On! Itself. Yeah, no, I only watched the first episode. Maybe the later episodes actually are better. Maybe somehow the later episodes are. No, I don't know. The ending of the first episode had something about it, so who knows? I guess I like this green one most and all, but they're all kind of in C tier. Teppen, the Teppen is actually a pretty good show. I do like Teppen, but, in terms of the character-wise, it mostly does kind of come down to, per group thing. So, she's cool. Her whole, episode about, trying to be friend. I kind of hope that, we got duplicacy by mistake, but trying to come off as, rich for the other two. So that, they wouldn't see things that they would kind of reject her because she's lying about her, wealth and whatnot. The Ibaraki girls, whatever. I don't really care much about her. She can be put here. She kind of has a few scenes, that's about it. So I guess I'll put her yeah. I like Yoina. Yoina's whole episode about the time travel, time loop episode is fun. And she's kind of the straight man of the group, of the alien group, which she's probably the best girl for me. And the alien one's fine. They're all the alien group, but she herself specifically is. She's okay, I guess, yeah. And then the alien herself, the bizarre nature of having an alien in this show. She has a fun story, I guess, kinda, but not really too much of a fan of her specifically. Kana is. She's not too bad, yeah. I guess she could be here. We'll go through the order and review it by the end of the video, I guess. We're kind of doing a rough order here. And I'll probably put her here. And then the other one that likes to where is she? One of them, I think, like actually the green hair one, the one that likes to train a lot. I do have her here, right? What the fuck? Let me look. I have no idea. Okay, well, I'll just cut and like find them for a sec. All right, we're back. Yeah, it turns out I didn't even have her. Well, she's just gonna be in high C regardless. All that for nothing. Yayoi, she's okay. I mean, I mean, I said you know you should expect every single thing for me to know a bunch to say. Yuzu's kind of you know she's fun, but I do like her most of the three. When it comes to Teppen, it is mostly about like the absurdness of like them as a whole and not really one individually, I guess. Unless maybe you want to talk about the alien or Yoino, which I guess is fine, but yeah. But I think the best character is actually Mr. Macho Man. He's fun. I like him. He's cool. The man just kind of flexes and shit and kind of puts him in these like bizarre situations. It's not too bad. Also, since we talked about Shide and like how much I like him, and the interesting shit about him, let's go for this summertime rendering characters. It is the highest for me so far. Gotta love Shinpei. He's one of my favorite protagonists already. I love how the competence he has. You know, he's similar to Subaru, but also different. Where it's like where Subaru kind of is really kind of sometimes bad at it. You know, he's the opposite. If you don't like Subaru, you probably don't like him. But I do think both of them go for different things, and which is why I like both a lot. Subaru is like actually my top 5 of all time. So, but no, not this guy, but you know, it's still like he's still amazing. I do just like you know him like his quick thinking, strategizing, his relationships in general. You know, it's just great to watch. You know, he's for example he can like kind of keep a toxic substance just in case you know so he can kind of kill himself to just kind of time loop back in case you know something happens. Like for example with the cave and everyone ended up dying. So yeah. But at the same time, you do get some kind of realistic things, or sometimes at the end you see that he might actually still be, you know, scared of dying because you know it's fucking death. You know, no one really wants to kind of casually kill themselves that way. You know, it's fucking, it's not nice. You know, it's not fun, right? Oh, that's not. I don't know. I did that. Nezu's cool. He's like, you know, he's calm. You know, he's a badass. You know, man doesn't take shit. You know, he can kick ass. He beats the shit out of people, and I like his personality. As well as, you know, Hizuru's interactions with them. I like her kind of conclusion to her character and her relationship to her brother. You know, you see how she finally managed to move on, and you know, even the regrets that she had and thinking that she's recently died. The policeman's actually funny. Like the man is kind of like the butt of jokes basically, but he's fun. Man's cool. So is basically best bro. Yeah, I love So. I love how he's like part of Shinpei and Ushio's group. Ushio, and he's always there for Shinpei. You know, even believing him like he probably shouldn't, but like you know he's like loyal to them. So Ushio's also fun. She's that Genki energetic girl. One of my favorites this season. Probably my favorite girl that season. So yeah, not so much for Mio, but I do like her scene of confession at the end. You know, you get to see that kind of. It feels more like realistic. It's not really like blown out of proportion in an anime sense. And it's just kind of like she confesses, and you know Shinpei doesn't really feel the same way, and you see how she kind of can move on from that type of thing. Tokiko is fine. Not really. Like, she does get some stuff like which you know basically was working with Heine, and you see that part. So she's not really the most focused in the series. Heine herself. She's a pretty good antagonist, but you know the spotlight's mainly Shide using her. But yeah, I think she's cool. I think she is also good. Oh, we didn't also rank this Steppen girl. She's also C to C. Okay. And yeah, okay. Let's do the Phantom of the Island characters. I think Nyota's pretty good. You know, I like him and Asahi's relationship together. You know, you get to see how these two kind of bounce off each other, even though their personalities are clashing. They are pretty fun, you know. Seeing how Nyota's basically kind of wants to just sleep and like lays off the entire day, and Asa is basically the one that kind of can drag him out and wants him to enjoy being an idol and whatnot. And you also gotta love the trio, man. Like the trio are pretty good to watch. I love the trio. You know, I like how you get to see that these guys, you know, aren't really treated in some like bad manner in like the story, because usually when you get these kind of like fangirls over idols, it's like You know, they're stalkers, they're creeps, they're weirdos and all this shit. But no, here's kind of just innocent, like innocent kind of idling of it. I mean, I don't know what the word is, like fantasizing or standing. I don't know, but you get the idea. It's kind of in like a pretty pure fashion. You know, like they're gushing over him. They're like over what outfit he wears. Nothing really in harmful manner. So I kind of like that. And Junpei, I mean not Junpei, fucking Yoshino. He's also that little brother figure for Nyoto, which is nice. But he's nice. I'll put him here actually. Yeah. Yeah, he's in B. Yeah, he's in B. And let us do. I mean, okay. I was originally like gonna make this a video and part in the summer, but I think I will do a follow-up on this soon. You know, the stepmom-daughter anime characters. We will talk about like parts of it later. Like, so for example, Mizuto is in high A plus. I do really like what they did with him throughout the season. One of my favorite characters. Do love the development him and Yume. You see how you know, it is a pretty realistic kind of romance story, like kind of coming to age story, you know, coming to terms with the relationships, status quo, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot to say and go through, and I already mentioned in the video. I don't want too much, you know, go into it here. But there's interesting things at the end which I haven't really mentioned because I made the video when it was episode 10. For example, there's the whole thing of I'm used to seeing the world through like a lens of, you know, a TV and whatnot. See, I think everything, you know, isn't really real, doesn't feel real, and that he can't really feel connected to anything. But it's only after he meets, you know, Aya Yume that really manages to touch his heart, which is why, you know, it contextualizes how he's felt up to this point. You know, why he's always alone and why he's always kind of in that kind of way. And Yume, you get to see her mature a lot over the course of the story. You know, she starts to, for example, realize that Mizuto didn't act that way because of her. It's just that that's how he is as a person. You know, she regrets the breakup, and even like the scene at the end, which you probably are curious about, you know, because they do go to the room where like Yume decides to, you know, want to make him fall for her. You know, Yume, not Aya, Yume, make him move on from that old Yume. And I think it still works. And it's not like, you know, it ruins the series, even though I said like, you know, they're probably gonna stay siblings. It's because you gotta really realize that like this story is like, you know, really special, I guess, or unique premise of these two were not really like, you know, long-time siblings or anything like that. Like they were dating and then they, you know, broke off, and then now they're just siblings. So it's not like they've been like siblings for ages. So I don't really think it's like the same manner of, you know, those like fucking wild ass, you know, or emo or any of these other fucking shows like that. And you know, this one actually does take in this very serious manner opposed to that shit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see if they get season 2, or maybe I read the novels. But yeah, and then there's where are they? Wow, they're pretty. Like everything's scattered around here. For fuck's sake. It should be here. Well, I do want to talk about. Okay, the Minami and Kawanami. I like these two. I think this is an A plus. I don't know. Is he? I'm not sure. Like A or A plus, one of the two. Minami is actually great. I like her character. You know, she could be annoying for people, but she has a fun personality that can kind of bounce off of, like, for example, Kawanami and Yume, seeing how like she does kind of represent that like kind of, she has that kind of mentality, I guess, of a high school girl, because like, you know, she's always like forcefully trying to, you know, she forces Higasha into doing shit to make, you know, used to fall for her. She kind of acts suggestive and, you know, trying to make her act the way where she usually wouldn't be, and telling her like she pressures her to maybe like confessing and shit. And I didn't mention her, but yeah, Higasha is my favorite. She has a great kind of character arc when it comes to her, like the realism of romance, all that type of stuff. You know, the friendships and how like she views romance and crushes as like a token of an extension of friendship rather than a special somebody. You know, all that type of deal we went through. Now, this show sucks. It's not good. It is pretty bad. I know what I said in the impressions, but nah, not chief. These like the MC sucks. This guy's boring. I don't know why I said anything about it that was good back then. Akira, I guess, had a thing with that one guy, but nah, it's also just not good. Rashomaru is an edgy antag that's pretty one-dimensional. Don't really care. This guy's, I guess, fine. I don't know. I mean, above the rest, but sure. These two kind of carry it, you know. I do like the glutton and then the thief. Yeah, it can be like here. And honestly, the ones that carried the most is Sogen and Suzuran. I do like these two. Yeah, I do like Suzuran and Sogen. They basically carry the show. They're basically the only good parts of it inside these two as well. But then everything else is kind of just very weak. Where's their commander, actually? Okay, should have him here. Alright, yeah, I'm stupid. He's right here. Honestly, he's in C. Nothing really anything about him, to be honest. Yeah, just kind of put him here. The master and maid. They're not bad. I mean, they're kind of really repetitive after. Like, I watched the first episode, it's just kind of really repetitive and redundant, so I think I dropped it. This guy actually surprised me though, because it's like I thought we dropped these like blank slate MCs in like the fucking early 2010s, but nope. I guess they still exist, and he sucks, you know. Pharmacist anime was actually pretty good, you know. It does have like that interesting kind of chemistry or like scientific knowledge when it comes to things, but in terms of the cast, it's not the you know what I mean. You know, it's like more about the story basically. So I don't really particularly care about Pharma himself. I'm actually gonna move her up. Yeah, she should probably be like here. The dad's actually cool. I do like the dad. He actually matters to the story, and he does kind of like look out and decide to kind of grow and how he sees his son, and he wants him to be independent. He pays him the fees needed from growing his shop and all that type of deal. So it's actually pretty good. And who else we gotta go for? And yeah, there's also I think that was that was two for the pharmacist one, I believe. For main and the best, we don't really add the others because these are the only notable ones I want to talk about here. Irumui, and that's how you say it. Not really a character I would, I don't really say she's a character that much. She's there, but it's a story more so around her specifically. I don't really care about her specifically, and I mean the story's kind of like damn, it's interesting, but not particularly interested in hers specifically. Wasn't exactly a fan of Fapata. Fapata is actually nice, I guess. She's okay, but nothing really, for me to enjoy a lot, as opposed to my favorite in the season, Wazokian, who I thought was actually a pretty decently compelling character, with this moral dilemma of just the methods and the ends justify the means, of seeing how he basically used Irumui's children as food and nutrition for all the groups so that they would live. And you can see these weird expressions of his and how he basically has fallen to this level, and he has these goals of kind of wanting to reach that beyond past human limits, so that he'd be able to both live in the abyss, basically survive in the abyss, because that's what you need in the abyss. So it is pretty interesting. I do like him. It's similar to Bonder, but not in the same way. But given that Bonder is also my favorite character there. Valerico, I mean, she herself is just I don't really care, but she does also have my favorite episode in the series, the whole past regarding the Golden City. If you're wondering about Belaf, I didn't really put him here because he'd basically be in the same spot as here. I just mainly put the ones that are notable in terms of season of Fapata. Belaf is still important, but he'd still just kind of be in high C, I guess. Oh, I didn't even rank him. Okay, Setoichi. Yeah, he's actually a pretty good character in Phantom of the Idol. You get to see the backstory of him, and I do like his backstory of kind of dealing with the spontaneous, just demotivation of life in general, and seeing how Asi has moved him to actually be change from those ways, and wanting to really kind of help people the same way she did to him. So and I love the conclusion of his character essentially being Nyoto's fan instead of Asi. And he has his own blog and all these criticizing and all this shit. Fucking Edge Runners. Yeah, the Edge Runners is actually, it was good. Nothing like a 10 or anything like that, but it was good. I do like David's character. He has a nice arc to him about how he's really wants to be special, and he kind of sees himself as that, with the whole I forgot the ability name, but the whole vertebrae and how he can just teleport and shit. And how much he's willing to grant other people's dreams, like, Lucy's dream of living in the moon, and, his mom's dreams and whatnot. Lucy herself is pretty cool. Uh, she's in B. I do like her personality, her backstory, relationship, there's actually a relationship between her and David, believe it or not. It's not like, elongated or like another show we'll go through. You see it in this tier list. You know what I'm talking about, but, my eyes are on you. My eyes are on you. Rebecca is actually my favorite, of course, in the series. She is cool. Yeah, Rebecca's fun. Like, she's a minor character, but you instantly like her a lot. Main, where's Main is he's okay. He's okay. Yeah, I'll put him here. So yeah, you might also think I want to mention was Run to Girlfriend. That is true, but we also should talk about the lesser known Nothing Burger. Is this shit. The characters are actually pretty good. I love Nagi's character. I love Erika's character. Like, in the beginning, it did have charm to it. Like, there is actually something happening and stuff. It was fun. Even the hijinks are still fun, even after the stagnation of the plot. But the fact that it does stagnate after literally revealing like a pretty big plot twist is just kind of like, it feels really pointless and redundant. It's like, why even bother? Like, it's just like, feels like it's dragging on for the sake of it. But hey, I mean, there's also problems with the character. I mean, even though I say that, but there's still problems with these characters. Like, Sachi, I liked her early on, but I think really after like when she starts to have like the whole thing, it was in the beginning, but once you start to get more into the whole like, she's not related to him by blood and starts to do that type of shit, I just kind of like don't really care much about her. Like, yeah, I know I say that in, like, the Yume and Yusuri, but again, very different case. Not the same thing at all. These guys, they were like, they basically have lived together for like the entire lives. But it's not really what I'm trying to argue. It's just saying, like, it kind of just boils down to the anime kind of deal. It's nothing really interesting, unique. Even used in a good way. It's kind of just basically there for the sake of it. It doesn't really, like, I actually liked in the beginning her relationship. It felt like more of a brother sister dynamic. But then later on, it kind of just felt like she's more so just kind of being aggressive and mean for no reason. I know it's because the Sundry shit, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. Hero is fine. I really like Hero. Maybe like, I say that, but then I look at like B and I'm like, do I actually like Hero more than like Rebecca and like Yoshi and all this shit? Probably not. Yeah. I guess she's in like B. Yeah, she's in B. I'm nothing much to say about her, but she's cool. Like, she's fun. I guess I love like the way she is, but yeah. I guess we'll rank you. I do like. Yeah, forgive me for the badly cropped picture of her. You can see already the line there, but yeah, I do like Seri. She has a great story, just kind of managing to mirror, like, kind of contrast Yamari and Ko and Nasuna's relationship, seeing kind of a different side of the vampire and human, romance, which I do think is kind of an interesting and important thing to do. As we see how, like, she is this character who really wanted to kind of just be able to live normally without having to worry about the struggles of a vampire, trying to always manipulate people into falling for her so she can make offspring and whatnot, which I think was pretty cool. I might even think of putting her in A, honestly. I'm not sure. I really like her. Shion LK, the meme guy, the guy that's speaking talks in internet slangs. I love him. He's fun. And he could be annoying for real, but he's fun. He's fun to watch. I love the man. Such a goofball, but he's amazing. Arisa, I like her thing. Arisa's, really just kind of shows this kind of like, how much people want like speed, attention. It's just showcasing the idea of attention, just kind of like wanting to be the top because of how Midori ends up being the top of the cafe. So she wants to try to get it back and she makes up this like story about peeping Tom, trying to get some looks at her. But then in the end, she just made it up. I like how it's not really treated in like a horrible way. She's the awful person and that type of stuff. Because, that's all a lot of people can do. People are gonna do some wild shit for attention. Just look at Twitter, for example. Look at the crazy shit people can say on Twitter. Like, So yeah, I think I really like that whole thing. Midori also is pretty fun. Like Midori. The detective is a very cool character. She is an important character that changes the spectacle of the series, going from initially seeing Ko and her thing of a vampire. You want to maybe root for it. He becomes a vampire. You can live on with Nazuna for a bunch of years, but then you see how bad it could be. Seeing that if you don't really drink blood, if you don't do the things, you see that teacher with 10 years thing, he ends up looking horrible and addicted, and he really wants to drink the blood to actually, function, but he can't. He doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want to kill people. And that really paints another kind of picture to challenge Ko's mind. And you see how much she wants to take out vampires because of how essentially they're like an outlier source to try to bother humans and cause them problems. Because humans causing other people problems. That's kind of like how humanity is like. So vampires are kind of like the unnatural cause. The friends, other two friends I like. They're cool. Mahiru is nice. We'll put him here, and then Akira. Akira, you love Akira. Very chill, nice vibes. And we'll rank the main two. We left them for last for some reason. I really like Ko's kind of coming of age story. You get to see just him start to learn more about himself. Starting to learn more about romance. What our friends like. Kind of just basically the kind of the growing like a 14-year-old growing up to see what really life is like. And learning more how night is, stuff like that's pretty good. Where is Nazuna? Where is Nazuna? Why is it so messy, man? Why is it so like this? There you go. Yeah, Nazuna's fun. I like Nazuna. She is pretty good in the interactions with Ko, just the way she is. She can be teasing, she does these dirty jokes, but she's actually pretty innocent, and she's just kind of vibes, just all around great vibes. I really like Biscuit Hammer. It's actually so good. If only the anime was a lot better. I don't know, the anime could be a lot better than that. But yeah, Inazuka, I love Inazuka's story. This his whole thing of kind of having knowing everything and there's the future, and then seeing how everybody around him has died, but then he uses that knowledge to basically teach the two girls, Subaru and I forgot the other one's name. If I can actually find them. Yeah, Subaru and Yukimachi. You get to see how he basically was their master and they look up to him a lot. And I really think the most interesting thing great about Biscuit Hammer is just how, despite the big cast, I think every single character is actually really good. I think they all have a really good strong character arcs to them. I need to read the manga for it. The anime I have a 7 or a 6.5. But if it was off the story, I would give it an 8 easily, 8.5. But the production really hurts it. But the characters are so strong. This man right here, Taro, he's been around for he's been on the background for a bit. Just seeing how he's part of the Knights. And then he gets such a strong episode to see how, he cares about Hanako and now how he sacrificed himself for Hanako even though he didn't really need to. He literally didn't have to. Hanako was gonna live regardless, but then he just decided to because he couldn't help see her get hurt. It's a great way to show his character, how he's and concluding it. And then you get Asahina. Asahina, I might not have a lot more to say about her compared to the ones I mentioned, but I think she's great. You have her actual character, with the way she is. She's basically the princess and leader of them all. And then you see how she had that small episode of just kind of feeling the way she is because of how Asahina, her sister and her mother never really visited her, because of, they were busy as being doctors and shit. And so Asahina really kind of just felt lonely, and her mother never visited her when she was sick as hell. And then you have the whole goal of her wanting to destroy the Biscuit Hammer because she wants to make the world hers. And then Yuhi's also backstory of Yui's character having that traumatic experience of basically having that experience with his grandfather. The thing where he just warned him to never have any friends and shackled him in this chains and trying to drill those thoughts into him. And seeing how he can finally manage to move on from it and even heal his grandfather after even though he kind of just wanted him to die. Like it's also a great character. It's all great shit. Like, Shinanomi. He's been gone for like how many episodes? He's only been there for like 5 episodes, and he's my favorite character. Like I love his relationship with Hase, like Hase and his sister. You think that that type of like usual shit. Like maybe you get like Hera calling him a pervert, like and attacking him and shit. And then he hits on her, but no, you actually see the relationship progress, even though he died. But it's more really progression than like most fucking harems out there, and most fucking romances out there. You even saw like dad actually root for them. And then he gets such a great ending, like as well, like passing on his knowledge to Yuhi, and also just wanting to live up to his dog because his dog managed to be a hero and how he failed. He basically thinks he himself as a failed hero. And then there's brother Mikuzuki, like is just a meathead, but he's fun as if like you can have. He's like a fun guy to be around. Like he's dumb, but he's just like he has a heart of gold. Like he could be like a pretty big like dumbass and kind of just wants to fight and thinking it through. But hey, he looks out for people. He really has I love his relationship with Yuki. It's so good. It's so good. I also think there's Shimaki, the guy that really is like basically the informant in a way, because he knows all this stuff about like the golems. He has this whole goal of wanting to learn more about the world and shit. We have that small little kind of mysterious part where he really wants to work with Animus or not, because Animus, the antagonist, also has the same deal of wanting to like learn about everything, and he's basically from the future, and he's the one that basically has the biscuit hammer, threatening the entire world from destroying it. And I really am excited about Animus as well. A lot of people have told me that I like him a lot, with these last few episodes at the time I make this video, which is about 8. So that's definitely a sight to see. Honestly, might be even higher. And yeah, I didn't mention Akun. Akun, I said what I said about him when it comes to Seri. They have a nice, dynamic together, and I love just the way they are. Akun isn't really a creep. He's just kind of a person that was basically a victim of just, the vampire type of deal. He was basically manipulated into, falling for Seri because of just how he is, with his relationship life. And then, even Tayo, like I'm making this, I kind of delayed this video, so I get to even talk about Tayo, who got an episode just this week. We got the whole thing of him with his, how, he feels like he's doing something wrong, but, being part of Animus' side instead of their all actual group. Seeing how they all care about his whole, care about his well-being and actually care about him as a friend. And then, he even ends up killing the last remaining golem, which makes him, you're not even sure about why he did that. And I'm interested to see how they go more about it. Definitely a great cast. Like, have you finished all of them yet? Yayoi the cosplayer, she's also great. There's a lot when it comes to the series. Like, there is a lot. I love when an ensemble cast actually matters. Everybody gets the focus. Everybody gets the shit. Like, I haven't even gone through everybody yet. Like who? I think we still have like a couple left. Like, I'm pretty sure there's still. Who is it? Like Nagumo. Yeah, Nagumo. The ex-policeman or detective. Yeah, where is he? I'm pretty sure I saw him a second ago. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, Nagumo's also great. He's basically the leader of them. Like, I know Asahina is, but he's basically the guy that basically leads them all. He has also an arc character to himself. Everybody has something. It's not just it's just the MC and that's it. No, everybody has something. There's a character for everybody, and that's when like a story is actually fantastic. Like, there is something to go about it. Now, Hataraku Mausama season 2, not the greatest fan about it, considering how it went. Was excited about it in the beginning, but it fumbled the bag. I didn't even have the other characters because, like, I'll be frank, a lot of them just kind of would go with the lockdown, but nothing really much for me to say. Like, Emmy, I think her thing kind of just like repetitive, redundant. And then the arcs just kind of kept repeating of the same thing of, McDonald's, let's go to McDonald's shut down, so we'll work somewhere else. Nothing really fun to watch. Though Gabriel is actually one of the better parts of the series. I kind of love his nonchalant, sarcastic, big-head personality. Like, the man could just kind of randomly show up at Mao's house and be like, hey, yo, I kind of just want, Alice Ramos, just because he needs her for, like, one of his missions. And, he could kind of just challenge Emmy with her goal, with her, like, father, because he could potentially be alive and whatnot. Yeah, he's fun. He's definitely fun. And let's go through some mid, shall we? I dropped this series, Tokyo Mew Mew New. I pronounced it wrongly in my video. I called it Mew Mew Mew. I did not know that there was another N. I guess I'm a Dragon Ball fan, but it's not good. It's not good. I mean, personally, because I mean, it's just like kind of really. It feels really aged. Like it doesn't really, nothing really feels unique about it or fun. I mean, not everything has to be unique. I'm gonna have to say something. Not everything has to be unique, but it just has to like be done well. You know, you could have a unique premise. You know, a couple of cuckoos, but just done in a very generic way. And then you can have, well, it's not here, but let me bring up an example like, you know, JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen. Nothing exactly the most unique premise ever, but it's done in a very good and unique way. That's how you do it. It's the execution that counts. So, Mokumiya, don't care, and her scene is really bad, like that scene with the boyfriend, whatever, that's just really bad. It's like aged horribly, like it paints this creepy thing, possessive thing as some charming, like, boy. It's like, no. Then Mint, I mean, I dropped it, I think, in our episode, so, I mean, there's, like, actually nothing to say. Lettuce, I mean, I'm not sure why she's called Lettuce, but I know one thing for sure. Let me show you what I think of her. I'll have to zoom in for this one. Yeah, it says it right here, you know. She's mid, basically. Oh, yeah. Not good. I mean, she's basically just boring shit to me. Nothing to say. Like, you might have to put me in gunpoint for me to actually say something. But Pudding is actually, I think she's, I guess, closest to the only character I like in the show. She's kind of like her higher energy, I guess. So yeah, I kind of dropped it at around point she showed up, so. I did drop this. Not because I think it's, I mean, it is kind of okay, but I mean, it mostly is because I was like really far behind with it, and I kind of was like, oh, I'm not gonna ever finish it, so I just might as well drop it at that point. Okay, so we're gonna go for the Aima characters. Another one of those shows where nothing really happens with the romance. Like, it makes sense because of the title of the show and like the premise, but you know, it doesn't mean it'll be the greatest ever. Rin is kind of fine, nothing really much to say. I guess she's okay. You know, her presence okay, she's fine. I think he's cool. I like his personality. You know, he's a reverse unaware Takagi, I guess, where he's the one that does the teasing, but he doesn't know that, and he's like really straightforward with it. And Orochi is like a reversed Nishikata, but has the personality of Takagi. I guess that's the way I can describe it. It might sound really inaccurate though, like I could be really wrong about that, but I kind of just realized that as I'm talking. But I mean, I like both, but I mean, as time went on, I didn't really like it a lot because it's like the most of the same stuff, you know, as you watch. So if you like it early on, you're gonna not like it at the end. If you don't like it early on, you're not gonna like it at the end. And if you like it early on and you get bored because of the same thing happening, well, you're not. That's gonna happen. Actually, I'm gonna think about it. Let me put her here. I think she's probably gonna be in high B. Yeah, she's probably more in high B. Let's also do it. Well, honestly, this is my favorite character, Naimo. I think she is fun as hell. She is a great friend. I love her kind of personality. You know, the way she is, and basically, you know, how she really wishes for her. She's happy, and she's always like looking out for her. She really wants her to kind of be with Aimo. You know, she's always teasing her about it. Yeah, like you get very rare. There's a lot of characters I'm just gonna say like personality the way they are, because it's like there's not like there are a lot of times it's not, you know, easy to talk about a lot. You know, I can't really say the same thing as, you know, Misato and Yume as much as I can say about Maki, if you get what I mean. These two's relationship is, you know, it's not bad. Takeru and Sakurako. I just realized, but like, she has this, which kind of makes her look like Benny Sumomo from. I mean, actually, she does basically look like her. Benny Sumomo from Tsubaki, from like last season. Made by the same guy, of course. That man is eating good. This fucker has 3 shows, this like back-to-back seasons. My god. And it doesn't even get a movie eventually. It's just like, bruh. Sakurako's okay, I guess. Yeah, he could be here. Couple of cuckoos I did not mention. Why did I not talk about it? The dad is probably like, the man has potential to be the best character in the show. Like, this guy is just enjoying the train wreck of like Nagi and what all this type of shit that's going on. this man's a menace. Like he's like putting shit like the like, basically the picture when they were like in the at that one vacation house. He constantly keeps hanging out with Sachi. And then he even like plants the idea to Miyagi that there's a way to solve this. Sachi is not your sister, so maybe like the way to solve everything, you could just marry her, and everything will be solved. Like this man is just a fucking menace. Like what in the world? Like he's like oh Sachi's it's your stepsister. It's like okay cool. The dad, I actually do like the other dad as well. He's he's cool as well. He's out of the over the top but fun. Let's put him here. Yeah. Alright. And we can also go through. Oh yeah, the pharmacist. I like Baron a bit because like he started off as this muscle twirling like villain, but I do like how you get to see that he does have a reason for hating the nobles or wanting to ruin the pharmacist for pharma, as we see like how essentially like because of the nobles saying that the healings and all this stuff was limited, they ended up not healing his son and he had to basically bury him, causing him to just kind of have a resentment towards the nobles and realize that like oh shit, they don't really care about anybody. But the problem is it didn't really go anywhere. It just kind of was like a thing, and then after that it was kind of gone. Pierre is pretty cool, I guess. I say that, but I see. Yeah, I mean he's part of that like whole thing, and yeah, I guess has a small little like role. Rion has an okay story from Black Summoner, seeing as how she finally gets the chance to actually experience, her dreams of like living the not life she's seen in novels that all she's read all in the hospital. And yeah, now she can finally enjoy that type of thing. And we also get to see how I actually like Sarah here. The battle junkie personality she can bounce off with. Kelvin, Kelvin Celsius, my guy. It's Kelvin Celsius. The antagonist, I bet the antagonist at the end, the Demon King, is gonna be Fahrenheit. Like, I don't fucking know. Yeah, he's fun. I think I really like the thing he has at the end where you see that he really got when you get the idea that he can summon heroes. He starts to wonder like what heroes are like, and you see how he ends up not even kind of start to have second thoughts about how he doesn't really want to summon heroes and forcefully bring them into this world and just basically bring them here like out of forcefully and then make them put in a role. And it really adds more to his character because mostly like, this type of shit, like these guys just kind of do it instantly. Like they wouldn't really take a second thought. They instantly would just go for it. But here it adds more layers to him. It shows that he actually thinking about it, and it adds more of like a a bit more in depth to the character and story. To see that there's actually something in awareness. And Gerard's a good bro. Gotta like Gerard. The only guy of the group, so I guess it could help to just kind of have a guy to hang out with aside from every chick that's in his fucking group. Though he is basically always in like the in his mind thing, like because he's basically part of his goons. Melfina is pretty cool as well. The self-proclaimed wife of Kelvin. She's fun, teasing character. But yeah. And then there's I don't really care about her much. But I guess she's okay. But I say that, but again, she's mid, not okay. She's in C. Yeah. Louise. I do like Louise off of the manga as well as the anime. She's actually pretty fun. I like that kind of sassy, overconfident like personality. Like she just kind of thinks of Louis as hot shit, always kind of flexing her face around. And she's cool. Rosemary, she might not be as prominent as the other two. Other one, Mary Rose, who I think is one of my favorite characters in the series, period. I really love her role in the story, seeing the contrast between her and Kate's characters or situations, and seeing how they basically clash, but also in a way that they could have been allies, really basically tore down the entire system. As well as Emilko. Emilko is just a fun character to watch. I really love Emilko. Emilko is amazing, which is interesting to me because I love Emilko, but I'm not really that much of a fan of Haisakura. It really makes me wonder, it's probably again because of the whole differences of the style, setting, execution of the character. like how Emilico's like, how she bounces off other characters, the plot, the premise. You see how Emilico changes sometimes. She actually does shit. With a vacuum. And with Hisakura, I kind of think she's boring, honestly. Like, I don't really think there's a lot for me to like about Hisakura. I mean, she is optimistic and fun, but to people, but I don't know. And then there's also Barbara. I think I like her a lot. Barbara was one of the main focuses of season 2. You get to see more about her backstory and her relationship with Mary Rose, as well as Barbie, who is actually one of the few dolls who gets some content. You get to see more of content on Barbie, just how she is basically, and what made her be this way. I am also, as you notice, I'm trying to summarize as much as I can. So I'm not really trying to really go too much in depth with this tier list. It's more of a casual, but also some parts are just in depth. But yeah, you also gotta love Oliver and Ollie, the kind of fanatics duo. Like, these guys are just obsessed with inventions, kind of get really excited and shit. You guys are cool. I like them. I will put them here. And then there is, let us go through Futopai. I mean, Futopai was decent. I like the arc with this, their idol girl thing, arc. And then I think it really kind of was the best part of the detective parts. But then after a while, I kind of just didn't really care much. So yeah, kind of would put her here. Tokime. I'm putting Philip in high C. In honestly, kind of just here. I just don't care. And Shotaro's gonna be in here. Yeah. I think I'll also be talking about the rest of the Prima Doll characters. So, there's also Chiyo. She's not good, especially with her first episode, alongside Yugiri. I don't know why the first episode opened up with that emotional scene episode and its backstory. We don't really know much about these girls, so I don't get it. Like, it's kind of weird. Like, you don't really get to care much about them. You never had the chance to in the first place. So it really kind of makes you leaving design for more. The second episode, I don't remember which one was the second exactly, but this, she also has a kind of the same spectacle and kind of area, but she's a bit better, so I guess she gets a small pass. I think she has one of the better ones, Karasuba. I like her thing with the master, seeing how much she cares about him and whatnot. And Red Seal is my favorite one. Yeah, I like her. Arc, seeing the spy thing and how she basically wanted to kind of basically throw her life away because she felt like she had no purpose after the war being over, and then there's no reason for her to live in her eyes because she's basically a spy. So what's the point of a spy if the war is over? And then there's Gekka. Gekka has a decent part to her with the whole the grandparents or the old couple being spies and whatnot. Seeing how she, even when they are, she still believes that in her time with them wasn't exactly fake. So yeah, she's not too bad, I guess. Even though I have her in high C, so I still don't get much. Nah, she's high. Nah, okay. And then honestly, the Futopai antags are pretty boring. Yukaji Bando, just not care. This man is going to be in C. That's it. Alright, now let's actually go through the superstar characters. We've already went through them in my full video on it. So let's just put Kanon in the C tier as we've done in the other one. Honestly, she's done really badly in the second season, as I've said before. She just kind of is a plot device. She basically exists to fix problems and whatnot, and then they have that fake out ending at the end. I go more in depth about this in my actual video, so if you're interested in the full thoughts about that, you can go watch that one if you're interested. Kanon is actually one of the better characters in Superstar. I do think she's actually pretty good, with Sumeri, who I'll just kind of pick up right here. They have a pretty good episode in season 2. I do like Sumeri even in season 1. She has actually pretty good stuff there. You know, pretty good, interesting shit about like how she wants to be the center, and then when she gets it, adds a pretty nice, realistic tone to it. Seeing as how you don't really have that type of thing hit you until the time is coming. So you start to get nervous, you start to not maybe want it. The pressure is there. Not to mention also the pressure that if she feels Cuckoo can go back to Shanghai and all that type of stuff. And you also get some more insight to seeing like how Sumeri is thankful for Cuckoo because she's the reason that she was saved because of the crown that Cuckoo gave her and the outfit for the non-fiction song. All that type of stuff. These are the only two like I think are actually well written in Superstar. There's nothing really much to say in terms of Chisato. I think she's kind of just there. She had a nice arc in season 1, I mean, but like we're about season 2 here. So she did become president, but it's like whatever. Nothing really was done much of it. I don't actually think I would like. I never thought like Ren would be the done better than most of the series like characters and Liella, since like I think Ren was just straight up not even that good and like straight up not good in like the first season. Like yeah, sure she had her own thing in season 1 with the whole mother like the whole situation with mom, but it wasn't really that strong to me honestly. And with Natsumi, as we put her here, she's kind of basically I think the worst Love Live characters, like character assassination. I think they really ruined her a lot. Kind of the wasted potential, just forcefully making her into an idol. The shallow way, ignoring all her kind of characterization, the whole dreams being crushed, the idea of basically being kind of maybe not even being interested in the idol industry, not industry, but basically being a school idol, because we've never really seen that. Even if a lot of the tropes in Love Live is like them initially not being interested in the Love Live or any of the idol activities. But yeah, Mei and Shiki are actually they're decent. Not too much of a fan of them, but I think they're pretty decent. I'll put them around here. Actually, I'll do this. Mei's at the bottom there, and then Shiki could be there. I probably did it differently in the actual other video. Like as I said, my thoughts on the tier list could change here and there. So, like it's not massively different. You could kind of have them. They're not that far off. And then Kinako is a character. That's all I'm telling you. She's a character in Love Live with a voice actor and all that. She's also a character. I mean, I honestly always forget her name. So she basically kind of just do this. She has they try to give her a thing later, but it's not really that good. I dropped this show, Yuri Deko, so I just put it there, just kind of have a rep of the the show itself in here. So I'll just kind of put the berry over there. Actually no, she is kind of actually not. No, actually no. I think I actually kind of find her okay. She was actually kind of okay. And I actually like how top 5 sees just all like Teppen girls. That's amazing. I just realized that. I also dropped Ruby, so not really that much of a fan of these girls. I mean, it also was weird that like Wise here keeps like fluctuating from being their friend to hating them, to being their friend to hating them, to just keep fluctuating there. I heard it's intentional, but I don't know. I don't know much about fucking Ruby. I've never even seen it until then. You gotta love Mabel. She's fun alongside the elf girl. The wild shenanigans that are happening in Uncle Isekai. I love the jokes and the comedy in Uncle Isekai. I'll just put her around. Honestly, we'll put her around here, and let's just kind of move the sister up. Yeah, it's such a unique isekai, and it's like it has a lot of fun and refreshing kind of comedy to it. Just seeing like the relatable jokes of like the YouTube thing. Oh hey, they have a YouTube channel and now they can't even make money because they don't have 1,000 subscribers or 400 watch hours. The VTuber instant where he looks like he makes videos as looking like a girl, and then he gets views because he's a cute girl. All that type of shit, and even just how horrible he is at this world. The uncle himself, who I'll put in high A plus. He is a great character. I think he'll be around here. Put around here. Yeah, I've said just now, the uncle, he's fun. He's a refreshing isekai protagonist. And just seeing how he is as a character. Such a dumbass, but also just a lovable one. I'm putting, this niece as well, Takafumi. I love the trio of Fujimiya and the uncle and Takafumi. They're great. Seeing how horrible he is in the world, and you see their reactions and interactions, and they kind of joke of just like how he's like so dense with the elf girl, and how he doesn't get it, but then he's also super dense with Fujimiya, and he can see it. It runs in the family. It seems it definitely just does run in the family. Superstar walked so Shine Post could run. Another great show that I love this season. Honestly, pretty underrated. It has a lot of interesting, pretty well written characters. With a lot of realistic kind of backstories to them. You have Kyoka with her kind of backstory regarding the being a plain girl and wanting to really kind of have that unique feeling to her, so that people would actually watch her and she could become an actual popular idol. And we get to see some of these type of traits. For example, when she does all those playful jokes, you could kind of interpret those as a way of her just wanting to look unique or come off as like having a being quirky, being unique instead of just kind of being normal. Which is why when she that one friend of Haru who comments on her being just flawless and that's it, it really gets to her because there's nothing else about her seemingly. It's just you're perfect. And then you have Ryuk as well, who has a pretty good character arc as well about being a burden and wanting to kind of not trouble everybody else. And you get to see how she tries to do things on her own. Even Haru has a unique, interesting story about how she literally suffers from success, seeing as how everybody around her kind of started to struggle to keep up with her, and they got pushed away, and she saw how her friend was being tormented over that, and then how she ends up not trying hard, which and then causes Momiji and Yukini to stray away from the group and making their own unit. Future Joe here from the editing department. I did not realize how many times I've said so big apologies about that. Hopefully it does not bother you. I do like these two as well. Momiji, she's the girl that looks out for Rio, and then Yukin, I guess, looks out for Haru in a way, and Kyoka basically can look out for herself. She's basically that. I do want a season 2 more. I definitely would want one. I do like her story, but I mean, it's not like I don't like her. It's just I like the others more. And not to mention, we can't forget the manager himself. I think I really like his personality. I think it's really cool how he doesn't really feel like a self-insert as opposed to some of the other managers. For example, like Idol Masters. I've been recently watching it. I'm still in season 2 of that. But anyways, his advice and his methods. They do feel like they come from a genuine kind of character. He has a personality to him. He knows what to say to Kyoka. When she's in trouble. He knows what for example, he could do for Rio, for Haru, for all this type of stuff. So I really do like him. He's a good character. This guy, he came from Harem Labyrinth and Otherworld, which I did drop. Yeah, I do actually like his monologues. I appreciate when a character has monologues and some of the gruesome fight scenes, and you just see how he goes about it. Well, I'm not saying what, but what it was if you watched it. But yeah, I mean, that's about it, really. Honestly, my favorite character in Prima Doll, Nagi. I think he's actually pretty cool. He has a fun, playful personality, and he's pretty cool to watch as opposed to the other girls. And we can talk about the the baby Yakuza babysitter. I mean, Yaika is decent. She's okay. I mean, I don't really care much about her. Kind of just boring to me. Kei Sugihara, I do like. He's a nice kind of straight man character role to Kirishima, and I do really like his backstory as well. Kirishima I actually do like as well. Not high up, but I will kind of just put him around this area-ish, and yeah. And then finally we do have this guy. I honestly think this guy might be one of my favorite. I mean, he's up there. Honestly, I do like his story, how he manages to leave the Yakuza and make his own family, find a place where he belongs, and be married and have kids, and seeing how he became basically kind of a father figure, or basically a father, which I think is a pretty good story and easy to root for. Let's talk about Vermeil. Vermeil. I like Vermeil. She's cool. I think she is actually a pretty fun character. As we said, Vermeil is a pretty good balance of ecchi and wholesomeness, and her relationship with Alto is honestly pretty sweet and cool to watch. No, it's not just full-on fan service ecchi. There's actual build-up and development there, which is always very very good for just a romance anime, because you know how those go. Also, I think it's also pretty good. He actually can back the shit he says. The type of stuff. He's not really a self-insert character. He actually can manage to say shit like he can protect Vermeil, as you've seen before. He's there for him. So that's pretty good. This guy is fun. He basically thinks at his heart, and he's just a cool guy. And this chick is just down bad horribly. She's such a tsundere, but she's so bad at it. Like, she's so down bad and thirsty. It's honestly funny. Oh, and this guy from the Yakuza anime. Honestly, I was interested in him in the beginning because of just like how he's like, and you see how this man is essentially the the orchestrator of everything and stuff, and it was kind of compelling to see like maybe there's something with it, but nothing really was done much with it at the end. It's kind of just there, so that's a bit unfortunate. So I'm actually I'll put him like here. So we're actually almost done here. So now we're actually going to the main meat of these characters. Like, everybody here is gonna have a lot of talk. So I don't know what the final stretch of this video's length is gonna be. Well, this guy actually sucks though, that's for sure. Kind of like introduces this president with like a bit of a quirky personality, but well, the plot twist is that he's like underground looking out for the city and shit. But it just kind of ends there. He's not really a character. He's just kind of a plot device. Doesn't actually matter that it's him. He doesn't really matter. It's just what his role is. So that's not really. Shanran's cool. She can kick ass. She's fun. She's good. I like her design. And she's a fun character. Alongside Aino, which I do like her episode of just trying to move on from like Shu. So essentially spending time with him one last time, so that just even though he's gonna forget about that whole day, and even when she's just gonna remember it, but he wouldn't. But the weird thing is that she kind of goes back to status quo and whatnot. So I don't get it, but yeah, I thought it wouldn't be that way, but apparently it was. The Kisara I really like a lot, and this I think it actually is pretty good. Seeing the ending scene of her and how essentially she does develop a lot, and seeing how in the beginning she wouldn't mind like living with Shu even if he was like a husk of a being. And she was always kind of criticized by Ayano for it, but then you see her giving all her memories to Shu to kind of signify her growth of how she's willing to sacrifice everything for Shu just so he would live on and be happy, even if it's a sacrifice of her own life, essentially, because she's now she doesn't have any memories and she's kind of just a husk of a being. I also think Shu is basically the best part of the series. How Shu is the whole memory arc and the revenge plot of wanting to kill all these enemies and monsters, so that he can finally find what happened to his parents. His sister's probably still alive and all that stuff. It's also kind of tragic seeing how things are for him. And let's talk about peak fiction, all right? Now, none of this, none of these summertime rendering characters I mentioned. Fuck that shit. Let's talk about the real peak fiction right here, Kazuya. Now, I did mention that I liked him a bit early on, and yes, I did. I still like him in season 1, because I don't think bad people make instantly bad characters. But he actually got a lot worse, because the problem is with him is that he shows development, but then he goes back at it, and now there's nothing really a hope for him. And it doesn't really need to mean every character that's shitty needs development. I don't think that's the case. There's a lot of villains that don't need to change, and they're still amazing. Like Frieza, all these kind of antagonists that never change. But with this guy, it's just kind of he just does the same thing over and over again. It's kind of just boring to watch, honestly. He's still kind of simping for girls, and I don't know why he's still shown in the weirder moments. You don't need to have that mentioned when he's talking about an emotional scene about movies, and he has these weird ass fucking scenes about Ruka, and I don't know why he's still dating her and shit. Nothing really happens, and it's it really hurts every character in the series except 2 specifically. I think it does actually even hurt Shizuru, who I think even had a good episode in this season. At the end. But yeah, it doesn't really help her out. And honestly, the carriers of the show is definitely Ruka and Mami. Ruka, yeah, and Mami are basically definitely the carriers of the show. And the reason is that they actually do carry the story forward. They actually make things matter. Like it's like mommy literally like she just doesn't fucking care. She just looks at Kazuya. She's such a scumbag that she just sees Kazuya that has now her girlfriend instantly after she broke with him. She's like, oh, I'm just fucking ruin his life, and that's just fucking fun. Because like look at the train wreck of this shit. Look at Kazuya, look at Cheezer, look at like everything going on. Like nothing is happening between these two. So what can you make something interesting? Well, you have someone like mommy doing everything like this. Technically, she's literally. I mean, some people have seen this like in an amazing kind of funny way. She's basically the hero of the series, which is good because of how horrible Kazi is as a person. He keeps lying, manipulating, being this asshole and all this shit. And mommy's, trying to technically stop the villain. I mean, it is basically not, it's not really actually true, but it's still fun because nothing really happens. And with Ruka, it is. She's fun to watch as well. Like she's so dedicated to Kazuya, but it is unfortunately that it is Kazuya because he keeps kind of ragging her around, but nothing really happens between the two, and he kind of dates her like so half-assedly. Then like he's still looking at Chizuru. It's just like you should just why don't you just break up with her? Like why still date her? Let's go through the Kagegurui girls. Suzura is actually kind of okay-ish. She is mainly just like a worse version of Ryota. Honestly, because like Ryota does actually do stuff, but now with her, like he doesn't do as much. And with her, it's like just mostly there just to kind of show, be in awe and surprising, being surprised at what Mary would do and whatnot. But yeah, my bad on like recreating shit. But yeah. She's kind of just like there to be surprised at Mary and shit. And she isn't really. I don't really care much about Togakushi either. Like these two are mostly just there. Like they do shit, but yeah, they're kind of not much. Miharu Taki, I mean, she's also decent. I think she, basically is the only normal character that is in that like the Kakuri world in this prequel. And poor her because she ended up getting so, fucked up because of this guy, who is honestly the most interesting character in this like prequel alongside Draco. I really like how this man, comes off as this, helpful. He's gonna be the ally to stop, the student council with all these like flower blooms. I forgot the name, like something blooms. And you get to see like how it's an interesting take of how like just because they have a group that trying to take down a horrible a horrible group or a horrible council. That doesn't mean it's gonna be well, because those new people could still just be shittier. It could be shitty or just even shittier. And this guy really, represents that. You see how these like fucked up faces of his, only really caring about Mary and just kind of wanting to have fun seeing how she is. And even I love his scene at the end. It's such a fucked up scene where it's like Miharu Taki just feels worthless because she loses to Mary, and you think like he would tell her, he'd still love her that way, or even he still loves her, he still cares about her, but no, he doesn't care about her. He just kind of only really cares about the power he'd gain from marrying her, and he just sees her as a tool. And it's just like it just kind of puts into her mind like, yep, this is Kakirui, and you should you gotta remember this Kakirui. Everyone here is a fucked up human being. And speaking of fucked up human beings, you have Jirako as well, a pretty compelling antagonist, not as much as Kirari. But I think she's also good. We have this whole thing of basically, controlling people in like the same way that Kirari does. But in here she's kind of tormenting them in really kind of just enjoys having people as her pets, looking down on them, wanting to break people, if she wants to find a toy, she wants to play with it until it breaks, seeing how Mary is like. And she really wants to see, Mubomi and Mary at, fail, and want to see their faces at their worst. That's usually because she's that sadistic when it comes to that. And she really likes how people, the pet that she had, she really wanted her to try to fight for her freedoms, and that's what she prefers, because that way she can crush her and then she can feel satisfied when she does, instead of just them being completely obedient. And then there's the main, there's the main girl herself, Mary Sautomi, my favorite character in the series. I really like Mary. I was excited to see that this prequel is about Mary as well. She's a fun character, great protagonist. Like her as a protagonist really changes the series, with we have with Kagurui's original protagonist Yumeko, it really, you get to see like how all the other characters, you just kind of see how crazy things get. Like, how are people going to react to Yumeko's crazy gambling tactics? Just throwing everything all out. No strategy. The insanity that Yumeko's like. There's that carelessness for the money and everything. But then with Miri, you have a much more standardized, I guess, gambling or like psychological show. You see how things are like here. The strategic, the wit, the the mind games, all this type of stuff. Which I guess either way it works to show how it highlight both parts of the story and character, and I'm pretty fine with that. I just think like it depends on what you would prefer. And let's do. I mean, I actually do like Zanak as well. Zanak, he looks like kind of the kind of like a scumbag in a way, like the ugly, though fat kind of design he has. But he does show that he cares a lot about his kingdom, and just the fact that it's pretty tragic seeing what happened to him. And he does get Ainz's like respect, even as far as to have Ainz wanting to kill all these people that actually betrayed the king, their king, and just, like, not even have them kill, actually no, just torment them until they die, like not, and even if they ask for death. Renner is another interesting character. I was always interested in her in season 2, seeing in how she was like, you couldn't really tell what she really was thinking. She was pretty fucked up, being obsessed with Climb, and now we see it in the full pictures how she basically throwing all of her kingdom all for the sake of just kind of being with Climb, making him her pet, and basically throwing away all of her humanity. And I love the song at the end, really kind of just encapsulates everything about her character. Now we have two series are remaining. Oh, he didn't even continue with Sumi. It goes to show how much I care about her. That's basically what I'll tell you. I don't care about Sumi. Sumi is boring. She has one good scene in this season with the whole looking kind of having that emotional scene with Kazuya regarding Chizuru's grandmother thing about wanting to show her the acting career. But yeah. Right. So which one should we do first? Let's do Licorice Recall. Fuki's alright. Yeah, she's not too bad. I actually like Sakura a good amount. She's fun. I like her personality. Mika's also nice. I like the way Mika's with the group. You kind of just kind of be the owner of the cafe and whatnot. And Shinji is actually an interesting antagonist, if you want to call him that. I really do like his role in the story. Just kind of seeing like how he believes every person has a purpose in life and he should always only stick to that, which is why he's always kind of manipulated Chisato in a way to always want her to train in assassinating people, only killing people and shit. And that's why he's such a fucked up figure in her life, like this weird father figure, because he always he's even trying to have her kill him to get her heart, to get that artificial heart so that she could live on after that, I don't know, like conditions that she has. And so you get to see kind of Chisato's ideals be challenged constantly by a bunch of things. And I like how at the end, after he gets killed off, Mika throws off the note that he left for her. He's kind of showing a way that like Chisato should not kind of look back and forgive him and just kind of move on or forget this fucker ever existed. And speaking of Chisato, I'll also be putting her in the S tier. I love Chisato. How could he not? She's basically one of the best characters in the season. Absolutely fun character to watch. Positive energy all around. Like, I'd be surprised if people don't like her. Takina is also a great character. As we said, with the development, she basically is the most developed in the series. Funny enough, Chisato doesn't need it because she already is, good off on her own right now. But Takina needed the development to go from like, she basically was only obsessed with DA and wanted to go back. But then you see her become, more relaxed, playful, fun, and even, kind of is the one that could initiate, hanging out with Chisato sometimes when, the whole heart instant got revealed. Kurumi is cool. I like Kurumi. I also like how we see her hacking instead of just being pushed around buttons. And Mizuki is also, good, kind of like to bounce off of her. And then we have the best part of the show, Majima. I love Majima. I think he's a pretty interesting character, seeing as how you get to see this kind of guy that has a pretty friendly but also antagonistic relationship with Chisato, which makes it like a frenemies dynamic. And I really like how unique it feels. Like, they're not really that kind of always fighting each other, but there's that kind of rivalry or kind of respectful dynamic in him too. He even lets her drink kind of a bit. kind of just to relax and be able to, um, kind of heal a bit so they can actually fight a full power. They drink kind of juice or something like that. I forgot what it was. And yeah, like that's kind of about it really. And I don't really want to go too much into it because I don't really want to go too much of a tangent on every single character. But yeah, he's a great character. I think he really does elevate the show, seeing as how he even is the one that kind of starts the whole thing, and he actually matters. He's not like a one-time antagonist that just gets thrown off the side. And for the last series we have here, I do think Ken actually did get higher a bit here. He did actually kind of get developed a bit because of Susan A and Koji's influence, because of what he made Harik to kind of do and make him stop being more of like an asshole. Kushida is actually a pretty compelling antagonist to me. I like how she's always been. She's had that like kind of contrasting, fake persona with her like cutesy persona. Seeing as how she's always been obsessed with attention and really kind of craved to be the leader and like the center of everything. And you get to see how she basically ruined her entire class because they found out that she basically hated them all, even though she pretended to like them and do all these things that nobody wanted to do. And that's why she's trying to expel Horikita and Aina Koji, because they're basically threatening her position, because Susan is technically the top of the class. Pei has some good character development this season. She hasn't really existed that much in terms of the previous, but I like her change here. Seeing how her backstory is, the whole bullying incidents, and how she basically develops at the end, seeing how she doesn't tell Ryuen who the mastermind is, not because of other people, but for the first time it's for herself, because for her whole life she basically was only doing all her actions based on how people think of her image and reputation, if people are gonna bully her for and all that type of stuff. And Horikita hasn't gone a lot this season, but it still is something about the whole change of seeing how Horikita was essentially someone who basically just kind of saw everything as like, oh, I'm better than everybody, and well, if you suck, well, just be better, lol. Like even the whole like race, like the 3-leg race, is like, oh, these slow people, they gotta actually do better, just be fast. That was in that basically got developed because of Aina Koji. I might be wrong in some of these because like I'm kind of just going off on an unscripted ramble. I'm also gonna talk about the main man himself. Like I left him for last for a reason, one of the last. Really love his character. He's easily one of the best parts of Clash League Season 2. Love how he is, his personality, his role in the story, his vibe, aura, and what he brought to the table. He actually could bring out the shit he speaks. He's not just kind of a random goon, that kind of gets killed off or pushed aside like in an episode. He has he's fun. He wants to challenge. He goes after the mastermind just because it's the thrill, and also being able to wanting to control the entire school. You can't help but love him with how he just wears all of his scumbag personality on his sleeve. He doesn't hide it like Kushida, for example. And he's actually one of the smartest characters in the show. Like, maybe below Aina Koji and some others. But, it's just kind of Aina Koji is a character, so he can't actually do shit because of how smart and strong Aina Koji is. As we see how Aina Koji basically plummeted him in that one fight. And I do love how even in that plummeting, he never really kind of, started being desperate or anything like that. Instead, he was still being a wild dog attacking him and, basically refusing to back down, and will only stop once he actually gets the win, because he's never experienced fear. And I really do like how even we get to see that Ryuen has his own fighting style that he made up, because again, he's kind of this wild dog. He lives by his own rules. He has, he controls everybody with violence, as he so believes the world is revolving around. All that type of stuff. And Aina Koji we got a lot of interesting things about him. You get to see more insight about the whole tool ideology that he had. Literally seeing that Kei, what he did to her. He basically set up the bullies only for her to get tormented, and then use the bullies to blackmail them just so he can make Kei his pawn. And then we get to see more development. He starts to have more friends. It's nice to see that he started making more friends, feeling more human. And then we see more about how he starts to care more about Kei. Some of those phone calls, you could tell he doesn't want to just completely cut ties with her. And we even see the whole thing about Aina Koji, finding out that he's not actually in any danger to be expelled because he's a valuable asset. So that's gonna be interesting to see in season 3 with the Kushida expelling arc. I've heard that the anime doesn't do justice to the light novel, so maybe I'll read it, but who knows about that? That's for another day. And that is about it for the tier list. DNF is only usually used when I hate characters, but I guess this is there's not anybody that's in that. So let's just kind of review this tier list. Let's see. Yep. Yeah, that's cool. Actually, I guess I'll move him here. And yeah, that's fine. You, Kelvin, Luis, Seri, Charo, so Pakumo. Yeah, I think that's fine. Maybe, I guess, yeah. Mugomi, Fujimiya, Kyoka, Ko. You see? Yeah, I mean, so far there's nothing I change, I think. Maybe up here? No, let's keep the same. And you have all these here. Tayo. I guess Tayo could probably be higher. Yeah. And then... yeah, I mean, here that's fine. This tier is fine. Like B minus. Probably put Dave a bit higher. Yeah. And then C plus. Yep. C. I mean, actually, she could probably be a C. I don't care about her really. C. Yeah, alright. That's fine. Let me know what you think if you got this far. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Turn on notification bells if you're interested. It's just shit that you probably hear a lot is, a lot of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you're interested in the content, be sure to subscribe. It does actually help a lot. Let's see if we can get that 500 subscriber mark. I know it sounds pretty cheesy, but, it could be cool. But, I hope you enjoyed this kind of change in style for a bit. It's a long video, but hey, why not? Maybe next time we could make it shorter, different, only time will tell. So, I will be catching you guys in the next one. Peace out.